Okay, just want to do a quick video in regards to Gary Stevenson, Gary's economics. Now, you probably know this guy. He's become quite well known over the last year and a half or so. Um, his channel is Gary's Economics, and it's all about reducing inequality. And you have to reduce inequality, and if you don't, living standards are going to continue to fall. Um, you know, ordinary people are not going to be able to afford to live a normal life, to be able to afford to buy a house, that kind of thing. You know, he's got a point with a lot of this. Um, and you know, I like him in general. He seems like a genuine guy. He seems like he genuinely cares about what's happening. You know, he doesn't have to do this. He's a multi-millionaire. You know, there's no reason for him to do this really, unless he actually cared about what's happening. You know, so that's admirable in the first place. Is his message, you know, is it accurate, you could say, or is it does it make sense? And up to a certain point, yes, I would say, but you sort of reach a point where it doesn't make as much sense, or where people like me coming in and making valid points about mass immigration, we either get ignored, or you know, or the question isn't really engaged with, or at least not engaged with in good faith, you know. And this would be my criticism of him. Like, he must know, surely he must know. He's an intelligent guy. He must know that inequality isn't just being affected by maybe not taxing the wealthy enough, but it's also been affected by relentless, non-stop, massive levels of mass immigration for the last few decades. He must know this. He's a smart guy. Relentless, non-stop, large-scale mass immigration increases inequality. Like, that should be obvious to anyone, even half semi-intelligent. Anyone who's paying attention at all should realise this basic fact. And yet somehow he doesn't seem to know this, or doesn't seem to realise this, or doesn't seem to be acknowledging this. And I just wonder what's going on here. Like I said, he's a smart guy. He must be aware of this. He's either deliberately denying this, or avoiding this because it doesn't fit in with the kind of message he wants to push, and because he's coming, I guess, from that sort of neo-Marxist perspective, the oppressor oppressed. You know, you have to look after the oppressed at all costs, no matter the consequences for everyone else. You know, and this is the big flaw, of course, with this neo-Marxist thinking. But yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't seem to engage honestly with that whole point of mass immigration. Relentless, non-stop, large-scale mass immigration over years and years and years, of course, massively contributes to increasing inequality. The dogs on the street can see this, but somehow Gary doesn't seem to realise this. It doesn't make sense. Come on. Like, and this is what makes me doubt, to a certain extent. I mean, I've already said he's a genuine guy. At least I think he's a genuine guy. And yet, how can you not see this and still claim to be genuine? To me, that just doesn't add up. You know, unless you really are at such a point of indoctrination by this neo-Marxist thinking, by this oppressor-oppressed thinking, that you just can't see the forest for the trees. But surely an intelligent, switched on, informed person like him can see this. You know, I can't get my head around it, you know. And that's the thing that frustrates me, because I like him, and I like watching his videos, and I find them entertaining and interesting, and you know, some of the points he makes are 100% valid, you know, there's no question. But this massive one is the whole thing with how he does not seem to be able to acknowledge or realise somehow that mass immigration, of course, massively contributes to increasing inequality. And if you do nothing about non-stop, large-scale mass immigration, you are ensuring that inequality will continue to increase. Like, that is a stone cold fact. How on earth Gary can't see this, I don't know. Someone explain it to me, because I certainly can't see it. Okay, that's my thoughts on Gary. Like I said, seems like a nice guy. I like him, but something is missing there in terms of how he doesn't seem to understand or get this basic fact. Doesn't make sense.